Welcome to this week's edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Manny Navarro, joined by Herald High School sports writer Andre Fernandez. We're here inside of Coach Schmidt's business class here on the Miami Beach campus. Miami Beach High been around since 1926, Dre.
Yeah, one of the oldest schools in Dade County. A lot of tradition, a lot of history here, and they're hoping to build on some of that this season.
Yeah, good start for the High Tides, 3-0. Dre, let's take a look back at last week, where really a lot of big statement games. None bigger than Miramar knocking off St. Thomas Aquinas. I was there for the game, 22-20. Game really turned on a special play there, the hook and lateral play at the end of the first quarter. Miramar took the momentum from there after they were down 10-0. What do you think of the job Coach Cogdale's done there over the years? 3 straight wins over Aquinas.
Well, remember last week when you told me big words, thinking they're going to win Class 8A? I mean, I still believe that even before they beat Aquinas. Now, there's no doubt in my mind I think they can make it to the Citrus Bowl, barring injury. They do a great job year in and year out. Even last season and a couple years before, when they were still a playoff team, you could tell they were really competitive. Cogdale and those guys, like, defensively, it's like they really are defensive geniuses over there. The way they can shut down teams as good as Aquinas, and every year seem to find a way to slow down even the best offenses. But let's give credit to Miramar as well on the offensive side for putting these plays like the hook and ladder that worked, putting in the running game, to be more effective this season. That really helped, and they were able to pull off a huge win. I'm surprised they weren't nationally ranked this week. I saw one of the polls came out and still didn't have them in the top 25, and I think that's a shame.
That's all right. Coach Cogdale likes using that as fuel to pump his players up. All right, talking about other statement wins, how about Coral Gables knocking off Columbus? You were there for that one. Thrilling game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a huge win for Gables. 06 was the last time. I remember I was there when back then it was Coach Montoya coaching the Cavaliers. They beat them by 1. This game, Roger Pollard, you could just see how big this was for their program. They've been trying to build the last couple of years. They took the first step last season by making the playoffs, but really 3-7 team making the playoffs doesn't say much for your program. I think this year you can already tell with this 3-0 start and a signature win like that the Cavaliers are heading places.
Another signature win. How about Flanagan knocking off Cypress Bay 35-13? They look pretty good. I mean, we can talk about the struggles of Cypress Bay, but I'd rather put the focus on Coach Devin Bush's team. I mean, and the job he's done there. You checked out the Falcons in the preseason. What are they doing right?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of things right. I mean, I think the discipline for one thing. The offense has been good the last couple of years. They've matured a little bit. The younger kids are coming along. I think defensively, they're starting to really come together and believe they can slow down some of these more complex offenses, like the wing T. They were able to shut it down pretty good in the second half. You look at that team from the beginning, from the time that we saw them in the summer in the preseason workouts. This was their mission statement. It was like either get Miramar or get Cypress Bay, get into that upper echelon of the district, and finally make the playoffs. And I think Flanagan might have just done that by getting Cypress Bay. They still have Miramar down the road, but they've already put themselves in a position where it's up to them not to let it slip away and get into the postseason for the first time.
We go from one bird to another. How about the Southwest Eagles? We were there last week on campus, down 17-7 I saw in the third quarter, and they come back and beat Belen 35-17.
Yeah, it was looking kind of rough for them in the third quarter. I mean, the momentum was totally on Belen's side, but you know what? Dre Pickett-White, he's called an athlete because of the things he can do. He can play like 6 different positions on the field, but this kid has come a long way at the quarterback position. He made a couple of big throws in the third quarter that kept that drive going, hit a big 3rd and 9 completion that set up the touchdown that got them within 3, and that just swung the momentum completely in their favor. The defense got a big turnover. Quindale Corker had a couple of key interceptions in that game. And the Eagles, I mean, you can just tell the athleticism's there. The team is starting to believe in Coach Neal and those coaches there in their system, and sky's the limit for them in that district now. I mean, they got the most important win they needed.
We talked a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week, about the team that's maybe been the biggest disappointment so far, but you look at the records now, there's several powerhouses, Columbus, Northwestern, Cypress Bay. All these teams have 2 or 3 losses at this point. Which one's most in trouble? Which one needs a win the most, you think?
All 3. I mean, I'll be honest with you, all 3. I mean, Columbus is going to get Norland this week. And funny you mentioned, because Norland is also 1-3, but they seem to be going in the opposite direction. They just beat Homestead after an 0-3 start, and we were ready to leave Norland for dead. They might start making a run now from what we saw last week against the Broncos. If they get this one, and then they get Northwestern the week after, all of a sudden they look like a playoff team again. But the Bulls are in dire straits. We've heard that they're making some changes within their coaching staff this week because of what's happened. It's unfortunate because now if they don't beat Northern in 2 weeks, they're pretty much eliminated this early in the season. And you look at Cypress Bay, Guandolo and those guys still have the ability to turn things around, but they're going to have to hope Flanagan or Miramar slip up bad the rest of the way.
They're definitely going to have to beat Everglades this week. All right, that wraps it up for this week's show. We'll be back with our picks soon.